Good morning to all.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Wait a moment. I hope the screen is visible to all of you.
Yes, sir, visible.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
sir.
Okay. You can mute. First, we will start as a fresh because yesterday we were covered the basic aspects as well as two best practices. Even then, once again, we are going to start as a fresh. Just to will see, we will refresh the things which we were seeing yesterday, and then we can go ahead with the remaining aspects. Okay, today we can complete this particular topic. This topic is the last topic of this particular unit. So that with this topic, when we complete this topic, even we can complete the third unit also. Okay, whatever it may be, we will try to finish off this topic in the today's session. Okay, the topic title is Best Practices for Big Data Analytics. Best practices in the sense, the good practices are the topmost practices which are useful or which are very much helpful for the development of our business. Those practices or those methods or those procedures, we can consider it as best practices for the big data analytics. Okay, here they are specified 7 best practices. And as before entering into these 7 best practices, what they said, like any other technology or process, there obviously are best practices that can be applied to the problems of big data. And even like any other aspects or other technologies or other processes, when we take up any process or any technology or anything, any work, for each and everything, best practices will be there. Likewise, even for the big data also, the best practices are there for solving the big data problems. As a part of it, in most of the cases, best practices usually arise from years of testing and measuring results. And even these practices were arrived after continuously testing years together, not in 1 year or 2 years or like that. Those are developed. It is something like, for example, we will take the live example. This particular college established long back. In the sense, in the year 1998, this college was established. In the beginning, we were started with some rules and regulations. And later on, as the part of the practicing, as the part of the implementation, we came across the few situations. Based on those situations, we were formulated some few more rules and regulations. In such a way, these things are established. These things are established in that particular manner. Okay, now finally, we were prepared the final rules and regulations. These rules and regulations, how we are prepared based on the past experiences. In such a way, we are calling it as best practices, in the sense those practices will give good results. There is no problem in those rules and regulations. Okay, likewise, even here also, those they are formulated in such a way, and CIOs, that is Chief Information Officers, IT managers, and even the business intelligence people and data warehouse professionals need to examine what data are being retained, which data we want to keep it aggregated and even utilized, which data we need to retain, aggregate in the sense we need to prepare in the form of based on few aspects, we need to aggregate that data. And even what is the aggregation and all these things, you know very well as a part of the data warehousing and mining. You might have studied all these concepts. Okay, so that no need to stress what is the aggregation, and utilize and compare with what data are being thrown away. And finally, some data may not be useful at all. Such data, we can throw it away. Okay, as part of it, now we can enter into the best practices. First, we will see the list. Start small with big data. Second best practice is thinking big. Third best practice is avoiding worst practices. Fourth one is baby steps. Fifth one is the value of anomalies. And the sixth one is expediency versus accuracy. And the last best practice is in-memory processing. Okay, now we'll start with the first one. Start small with big data. Okay, as a part of it, when we see, I hope the next slide is visible to you. I didn't know whether the slide changed in your screen or not. Roll number 38. Roll number 38. Can you unmute and can you tell me whether the next slide appearing in your screen or not?
Yes, sir.
వచ్చిందమ్మా నెక్స్ట్ స్లైడ్ వచ్చింది కదా?
Yes, sir. Second slide.
Okay, you can mute. You can. Okay. Start first best practice is start small with big data. We need to start first of all with smaller amounts, or smaller amounts in the sense you don't think it as money itself, money only we need to call it as amount. No. Even whatever it may be, small quantity or small amount in the sense, small amount of water, in the sense just small quantity of the water, we can consider it as small amount of water. And as a part of it, when analyzing big data, it makes sense to define small high value opportunities and use those as a starting point. These particular small things, we need to consider it as the starting point. And then ideally, those smaller tasks will build the expertise. And what they are saying, even though you are started with small, you can get more experience with those small tasks. In the sense, you can get the experience and expert, you can become the expert in that particular small area. Expertise needed to deal with the larger questions an organization may have for the analytics processes. For the organizations, those smaller tasks will build the expertise needed to deal with the larger questions an organization may have for the analytics process. And then successful big data projects tend to start with very targeted goals and focus on smaller data sets. These successful big data projects tend to start with a very targeted goal. They should have the goal and they should have the target of that particular goal, and their focus is on that particular goal. They want to reach that goal. For that, what they want to do, it is something like, for example, your goal is you want to secure a good job. Okay, that is your goal. For that, what you need to do, as a part of it, you can try to identify or try to find or try to formulate a path. What I want to do for securing a good job. Okay, for example, as part of securing the good job in the MNC company, first of all, they will conduct a test. So that immediately, as part of the test, what is the syllabus? So that you want to prepare those concepts. You should be conversant with those concepts. That is your intention. Why you are preparing those topics in the sense for passing or for getting more marks in that particular examination, in that competitive examination. Okay. Why you want to secure more marks in the sense, when you get more marks, then you can go to the next round. Why you need to go to the next round in the sense, when you pass all these rounds, then only you can secure the job. Like that, that is your goal. First of all, you can set the goal, and then for reaching that particular goal, you need to do all these things. Okay. Likewise, start small with big data. And then next best practice is thinking big. As a part of thinking big, leveraging open source Hadoop technologies and emerging packaged analytics tools makes an open source environment more familiar to business analysts trained in using SQL. Here what they are saying, leveraging open source Hadoop technologies. Even yesterday also we were discussed the same point. Open source in the sense, the source code is available. We can see the source code of any application or any software, or when we are able to see the source code of any software, in the sense any operating system or any application, that is called as open source software. Open source Hadoop technologies and emerging packaged analytics. Packaged in the sense, those are put together or those are gathered for a specific purpose. Packaged analytics tools makes an open source environment more familiar to business analysts trained in using SQL. And then another point here is, it is critical to consider what the build-up will look like. And even it can be accomplished by determining how much data will need to be gathered 6 months from now and calculating how